Meet Johnny. Johnny is a 7th grade student at Anywhere Middle School. At first, Johnny would appear to be like any other 7th grade student. He has many friends, he plays in the school football team, but Johnny's story differs from his peers in the following ways. He comes from a family of 6 that share a small 3-bedroom government-subsidized home. Johnny's family qualifies for the free or reduced meal program at school, which also classifies him as low socioeconomic status. So far this school year, Johnny has been suspended 4 times. Once for disrespect toward a teacher, another for walking out of class, then for behavior on the bus, and the latest incident for refusing to leave a classroom when asked. Johnny's story is fictitious, but accurately represents thousands of other students across the country. Johnny, like other low SES students, was issued exclusionary discipline at a disproportionate rate. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, let's take a minute to cover some important definitions. Low SES. This is a classification of students growing up in poverty. FARM, or FARM. This is the free and reduced meal program. Qualifications for these programs are set up by the U.S. Department of Agriculture. Exclusionary discipline. Any discipline that removes a student from their learning environment for the purpose of punitive punishment. Most common methods of this include getting sent to the office, in-school suspension, out-of-school suspension, or possibly expulsion. In 1975, a Children's Defense Fund study found that 46% of suspended students were low SES. Since 1975, additional research has found that African Americans, male students, and low SES students received exclusionary discipline at a disproportionate rate. Locally, a collaborative PLC of Shippensburg and Millersville doctoral students found similar results upon examination of their own school discipline information data. The negative impacts of exclusionary discipline practices include the following: increased risk of dropping out, academic failure, grade retention, repeated negative behaviors resulting in exclusionary discipline, involvement with the juvenile justice system, substance abuse, and feelings of alienation. For our PLC white paper, we focused on decreasing the use of exclusionary discipline for low SES students. Social-emotional learning was used as a framework for addressing the disproportionality in schools. 2 school-wide approaches that incorporated social-emotional learning were explored as options for school leaders. Social-emotional learning, or commonly referred to as SEL, is embedded into the school culture and climate and acts as a prevention or intervention for student behavior misconduct. The primary focus of SEL is the development of individual student qualities, including recognizing and managing emotions, development of empathy and caring for others, establishing positive relationships, and responsible decision-making. Incorporation of SEL programs into schools have been shown to do more than decrease problem student behaviors. It has been shown to improve attitudes, improve school connectedness, increase student achievement, decrease student truancy, increase bonding with teachers and school, and decrease in risky behavior, violence, or aggression. So let's catch back up with Johnny. As mentioned earlier, Johnny has been suspended from school 4 times this year. His infractions included disrespect to a teacher, walking out of class angry, behavior on the bus, and refusing to leave class when asked. If Anywhere Middle School had an SEL framework in place to help Johnny establish positive relationships, manage his emotions, and use responsible decision-making, he may not have missed the valuable instruction time that he lost due to being excluded from school during his suspensions. 2 school-wide programs were researched that may have been able to help Johnny and other students like him. First, Positive Behavior Interventions and Support, or commonly known as PBIS. This program is designed to foster an environment of consistency, community, and reflection. A 3-tiered system is used to improve student behavior both academically and socially through school-wide values, interventions, and supports. This is done through school-wide instruction, positive reinforcements, and consequences for behaviors. PBIS is a proactive approach to discipline rather than punitive. When behaviors cannot be addressed through the school-wide efforts, they may transcend to the secondary and tertiary prevention tiers. The second tier specializes in group systems for students with at-risk behaviors, while the tertiary level is more individualized for students with high-risk problems. Data analysis occurs throughout the PBIS framework to determine the focus and direction of the program. This helps inform the PBIS team about the next steps and ensures that PBIS is implemented effectively. Another school-wide program designed to decrease suspension rates is restorative practice. Originally, restorative practice was implemented within the juvenile justice system to address the disproportionate number of black youths convicted of offenses. At its foundation is the ideal that we are all connected through a web of relationships. This was adapted in schools, and a similar framework is used to address student misbehaviors. Instead of responding with purely punitive measures, restorative practice calls for the community members to participate in a forum to discuss the wrongdoing, who and how it has impacted, and what needs to be done to repair the harm. At the school level, this forum would include the student, other students, teacher, counselor, and/or principal. Preventative and responsive restorative practice enables teachers and administrators to develop and maintain inclusive learning environments where all stakeholders have a voice. Similar to PBIS, restorative practice also follows a three-tiered model. Tier 1 focuses on daily or weekly class meetings as a preventative response. When minor misbehaviors or arguments occur, Tier 2 would use peer mediation or peer accountability boards. For more serious behavior concerns, Tier 3 uses restorative justice centers or restorative conferences as alternatives to punitive exclusionary discipline. These are classrooms or structured meetings designed to address wrongdoings. It involves victims, offenders, an adult facilitator, and other teachers and/or community members. While PBIS and restorative practice are not the only student behavior programs available, they do accurately represent programs that specifically use the social-emotional learning framework. To decrease the disproportionate use of exclusionary discipline for low SES students like Johnny, it is suggested that schools implement programs that address behaviors through preventative means, development of social-emotional learning skills, and have tiered interventions rather than strictly punitive consequences like exclusionary discipline. While Johnny's home situation and financial status may differ from his peers, he is no less deserving of classroom instruction. As educational leaders, we should strive to keep students like Johnny in school rather than exclude him for his behaviors. Instead, we should employ lessons of the social-emotional learning framework to teach Johnny life lessons to help him be successful both in school and throughout his life.